Hey, seniors. I'm here to take you through, if you want to apply to the UK, how to do that. So I'm here at UCAS.com, and this is a place that you can apply to schools in England. So United Kingdom, uh, anything in the Welsh state, Scotland, and Northern Ireland. So I'm going to take you from the beginning. I'm going to go ahead and, if you don't have an account at all, click over here and sign in students. And I haven't signed in, and so I'm going to create something new. So what you want to do is the 2022 entry, okay, and you want to click Create Account. So I'm going to go step by step through this with you. And you can use your school email or you can use a private email, doesn't matter. At gmail.com. First name. Now your last name, you don't need it, right? The ones with the stars on it. So your last name is optional, but I would recommend that you do put your last name. And really, you want to stick to your name that matches your passport. So that when you apply for the visa at the end of this process, your name on your UCAS matches your passport. Okay, and you create a password. I believe it has to have a capital. Oh, doesn't meet the requirements. See, I did something wrong here. So if you do it wrong, let me try it again. There you go. So it has to have a capital, has to have a number, it has to have a special character, and I think it has to be 10 long. Oh, passwords do not match, so let me do that again. Oh, there we go. I've read and understood terms and conditions. If you'd like to read through them, you can do that. Now, what it'll do is it'll send it to your Gmail account. So let me go to my Gmail account. Okay, let me sign in. Okay. And in your email, there should be a code. There it is. You need to verify your email address. So go ahead and take that code and pop it in there. Verify. Okay, signing me in. Now, there are a few things you have to do now. So, yep, 4 steps to help you. Okay. Ready. So, which year do you want to start your studies? So, you're going to want to start them in the fall of 2022, right? If you opened one before, or you're a junior and you happen to be watching this, then it would be later on. But you guys are seniors, and you're going to want to do undergraduate. Okay. And so if you're looking at performing arts, conservative, so schools that have specific things in their school, you would do that. Or if you want to do apprenticeship, you could click those and see if you want information. This is where you enter where you live. And I believe this is still Burma that they have under here. Burma, kind of Myanmar. So imagining I'm living there. And then you can mess with your preferences. So you can get information from universities in your email box, tailored information. I don't want that. Get great deals, offers, and freebies, including high street brands, tech, and travel. No, I don't want that, but you can go ahead and mark that. It's a lot of marketing stuff. You can go ahead and put your country code in if you want, if you have a mobile number. And then it asks you what subjects you're kind of interested in. So I'm going to kind of put, maybe I like chemical engineering. Okay. And you can put a couple other subjects in there, but you have to put at least one. Right? Are you still at school or college? Yes. And you need to put your school or college. So you put the International School. See what happens there. And there it pops up. Okay. Now you'll create an account, and I do have a buzzword. And it says, welcome to your hub. Okay. And it's and then you want to go to my hub. Okay. And over here, your application, and you basically just click on the left-hand side, start. Now, if you want to look at your to-do list, they go through a lot. There's actually a lot of resources in this hub. You can look through it. You can, now that you have an account and if you do a search for universities here, like if you do a search on UCAS to look at schools, you can actually click the hearts, and that will actually keep track of your universities that you think you might apply to, right? And so there's a lot you can do once you establish this in here. A lot of research, a lot of information. I'm going to go ahead and click start, and I'm going to put undergraduate. Right. So if you look around this page, what else is there? What type of application? Nope, that's it. You want to do undergraduate. Okay. Are you applying from a school, college, or center? So we are a center. ISY is a center. So you want to click yes to that. And so you're going to link your application to our center. Now, there's a buzzword here. Let's see if it works. So the buzzword is located at, I sent you something through your email. It's called University Admissions Guide, grade 11 and 12. And in that, on page 33, you can find the ISY Chinte. So it's ISY Chinte 2022, capital, all caps. So caps ISY Chinte 2022. Your buzzword. Okay, so that ISY Chinte buzzword is incorrect. It is ISY Chinte and then just 22 without the 20. So if I click Save Buzzword, so your buzzword is for the International School Yangon. Is that correct? Yes, it is correct. Okay. And so now it's linked. Okay. And now it says, on August 15th, you requested to link your application to the International School Yangon. If you don't receive confirmation after 15 days, please contact the center or contact UCAS. You want to contact me. Usually within a couple of days, it lets you know that that your stuff is linked. And if it's linked, that means that I can get in, and it shows up when I log in as head of the center, and I can take a look at what you've done, how anything that you've written in there, so I can double check that what you write in there is correct. Okay, so here is your dashboard that you're looking at. You have choices, your profile, personal statement, and then you can review and submit. Okay, so let's just take a look. So if you haven't done your research, this actually sends you to the section where you can do research. If you already know your school, you can add your choices here. right? So you can add up to 5 choices. So let me just take a quick thing here and go over to courses and providers. So it actually opens another tab for you and sits this here. So this is a nice place to go. So let's say you want to study, I think my first choice was chemical engineering. Undergraduate and entry year is 2022-23. So that's when you want to study. So make sure you do that because there are differences sometimes with universities between last year and this year. Okay. So let's say I look at University of Aberdeen. Okay. And I look at chemical engineering. And I know that most of you have probably done this, but if you haven't, um, you can kind of get a sense for what you would be studying at Aberdeen, how to apply. January 15th is the deadline. Yeah, entry requirements. So there's international baccalaureate, 34 points, right, including chemistry, math, and physics at higher level. So you had to in order to qualify for this, you need to take 2 sciences and a math, and you have to get at least 6 or above. And you need to have English at standard level, and the total has to be 34 points, right? And you can research, and so on. And then English language requirements. You can take the IELTS, the TOEFL, academic. I would look at their website for more tests. Most universities at this point actually will accept stuff like the IELTS home edition or the TOEFL home edition, not just these. Okay, and so yeah, and then they give you the undergraduate degree direct to their website, so you can do further research there. So, that looks kind of good. And so I can go back over and say, I'm going to add my choice. I'm going to search for Aberdeen. Okay, I would just put part of the name, and then I would search for course. So I would put chemical engineering. Okay, let's see what. Whoops. Let's go back and see. Chemical engineering. That's the only one there. Okay, save. And then you have location, and it's the main site. And your start date would be September 5th, it looks like 2022. Live at home while still studying. Let's see, where's this? You want to study first year. What does this say? So, point of entry. Okay, so start date. Yep, main site. Okay. Chemical engineering. Okay, and this course code H810 really doesn't mean anything to you other than, when you're researching, you go here and it says course code H810. And so that's how you know for sure that you're matching the major. So it's the number that gives you the course code. Different, like courses like chemical engineering and business will have a different course code, or chemical engineering linked with like psychology will have a different course code, or chemical and biology, chemistry and biology will have a different course code. So you want to make sure that what you're researching matches with what you're putting into your application. Okay. Okay. Point of entry. So whenever it's first year of the course, if you wish to start in the first year of the course, leave the box blank. That may be considered for the first year. Okay, so you could have left that empty if you want. Live at home. No. Right? Most of you won't be living at home when you're studying. And save that. Okay. Now you can do that for 5 of them, right? You have 5 schools that you can do that with. And so you can continue to add choices there. Okay. Now, once you've got your 5 locked in, you can do mark complete. Now, if you don't, you can change your choices until you send us your application. Right. So if you stick the initial 5 in, and what most of you should do is, take an initial guess at your 5 before we get predicted scores out. So, if you're applying to medicine or Oxford or Cambridge, or veterinary, your deadline is October 15th. I would, if I was you, put in there in September, the 5 courses that you think the 5 schools and courses that you think you're going to do. Now, once we get you your predicted scores, which for those of you with the 15th of October deadline, we'll get it a couple of weeks before you have to go. Once you get your predicted scores in, maybe you'll want to change up some of those 5, right? And so when you're researching, you want to have, probably about 10 sort of schools that are ready to go. So ones that you think might be higher than you predict, most of your schools should be right around what you think your predicts are going to be, and then schools that are below. And then when you get your predicts, then you move around your schools. So what most people do is that's what they'll do. They'll put in 5 initially, and then rearrange as the deadline gets closer. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and just mark this complete, but I know that I can go back and change that, right? If you don't want to mark it complete, you can leave it open. Okay. So now you got personal details, contact and residency, education, employment, supporting information, English language skills, and so on. So why don't we go through these and just take a look at what these are. Okay. And so they have my name. So this time you actually have to put in the title, right? And your name, previous names. And so if you have, if you have a Burmese name and there's maybe a couple of different names out there. So maybe your name in IB for IB purposes, or maybe your name on your transcript is different than this. You can go ahead and put any other name, so that if they get paperwork from IB that's slightly different from your passport name, they have it here, right? And then you can actually put your preferred name. So if you have Lin Tet Ong, for example, but you're known by Kevin, you can go ahead and put down Kevin there. It's pretty nice, okay? But you don't have to, right? Those don't have stars. And then date of birth. So May 5th, I think I said, or May 5th. What are you guys like? 2002, something like that. Okay. So put your birth date in. I'm male. And can I mark it as complete? Yes. So you can say that. So that's pretty easy, right? Pretty straightforward. So and then you can just go next to contact details, right? Contact telephone number. You must provide a contact telephone number, but it's not starred. So let me see if I can change that. So postal address type, non-UK address, and then I'll start to fill it in. So let me put down 20 Kanbaza name, country. Again, I think it's Burma. It'll probably be under Burma. Where are you? Burma, Myanmar. Okay. So if you happen to be using an agent, or if you want someone else to act or speak on your behalf about your application, you can click yes, and then you put in details. Is your home address the same as your postal address? For me, it is. If it's not, then you can put your home address, right? So if you want stuff that's mailed to you to a different address, that's up to you, okay? So you can have, that's a postal address, okay? So if for example, if your parents have an address that where you guys get mail and it's different from your house address, then you can indicate that here, right? So I'm going to put my home address is. Please select your area of permanent residence. Area of permanent residence refers to the area in which you live, right? And so the area in which I live for most of the time is Myanmar. So my category is I am not a UK citizen. I'm not a British citizen. I'm not an EU national. So for those of you that if you are any of these things, if you're an EU national but non-K citizen, then you tick that. Or if you're Swiss national, that. Okay. So I am other. Okay, let's see if I can mark this section as complete. Okay, so I can do that. So let's go back up, and even though up here it says contact telephone number, you must provide a contact telephone number. You can, if you want. If you have a cell phone number, you can. Most of the time, they won't call you unless unless there's real emergency. They don't usually call overseas numbers, but you can. You can go ahead and put that. And then if you do, it'll just make it easier for universities to contact you if they do want to make that phone call and get a hold of you. Most of the time, they're going to use your email. Okay, so it's really important to check your email. Okay, save this section. Now, let's say you don't want to mark it as complete. You can go back. You can still save the section. Okay, but marking it as complete just means, boom, I'm done. On your checklist, it says it's done. When I take a look at your application status, I get to see what you finished and what you haven't finished. So if you mark this, I see that you have actually finished this section. Okay. No. Did I save it? Save this section. There we go. Okay. Now, next to education. Okay. Okay, so add a place of education. Name, school, or university. Now the International School in Ghana. You don't have to fill this in. You can just save it. Oh, I have to keep going. Yeah, that's fine. You don't have to have a center number. The start date there. So whenever you entered Myanmar, or ISY. So for those of you who entered it like at the beginning of 11th or beginning of 10th, you want to enter it there. For those of you that entered like in 4th or 5th grade, you can say you entered it there. They won't care. At least say 4 years ago at the beginning of 9th grade. So you guys just make sure that you indicate when you entered ISY. It's fine. So, and when you do say you entered, most of you will enter in August. That's the beginning of the year, but some of you entered in the middle of the year, so then put that. Okay. So if it's 2021-22, that's your senior year. 19 or 2021 junior year, 1920 10th grade year, 1819. So if you entered an ISY in ninth grade, you can do that. It's really up to you what you want to put. You want to put down when you entered in 3rd grade, or you want to put down just the beginning of 9th grade. It's fine. They just want, this is a section where they just want to know, have you been at this school for the whole 4 years? Your end date will be May of 2022. Okay, you will graduate at the end of May. You want to do a full-time. Now, or you can do a sandwich. And what that means is, let's just do full-time. Sandwich usually means that what a sandwich is courses. You take 2 years of a course, you do a sandwich year in which you work, and then you take that final year. You just want to do, you don't want to do the sandwich part. You want to do a full-time. Okay. Do you or will you have any qualifications from this center? Yes, you will. Remove this. Okay. Yes, you. So if you received any qualifications or you had any pending at this school, click yes. Okay. Save. Now, if any of you have if you have come to ISY after 10th grade or after 9th grade, you're going to want to add your other high school, right? You don't have to add middle school. You don't have to enter elementary school. All they care about is secondary school, high school. Okay, so if you indicated you've only been here for 2 years, then you want to put another place of education for those 2 years. Okay. Please state the highest level. Please state the highest level of qualification you expect to have before you start your course. that's really geared for more of a UK question. You will have, almost all of you will have an IB diploma, and so I would go ahead and push honors degree level or above qualifications. Okay, um, and that's really more geared towards the UK system. Okay, you want to save this section. Always save so you don't lose it. Okay, next to employment. Now, employment is one of those pieces where did you get paid for this? Okay, so let's say you worked as a babysitter, for example. You would say self-employed. Okay, babysitter. You can just put NA. Okay. And, start date and end date, just make that up. Just do the best that you can. Okay, with your position full-time or part-time, I would put part-time. If you babysat throughout high school, maybe you put high school, right? So maybe you put, August of 2018, and then maybe you're going to continue to babysit. So maybe that'll take you to 5/22. That's not in there. Okay. So, maybe it's up to right now. So maybe you'll be doing, let's say that. Okay. Okay. But for employment, you really just need to put down only those things that you got paid to do. So if you've never worked and never got paid, then that's fine. Okay. And the most important thing probably in here is sort of what what was the title that you have, what was the company that you worked for. If you did do an internship for one of your parents' companies or something like that, and you didn't get paid, you can't count it as employment. Cool. Okay, so I'm going to save this section. Okay, what is your country of birth? So I'm going to say, this time I'm going to say United States. Please tell us your date of first entry. What? What is your country of birth? What? Oh, your first date of entry to the UK. Okay. So, most of you that go and study in the UK is going to be in September of 22. So you're probably going to get there like August of that. So I would do something like day 1 of August and say 2022. Okay. You can put whatever date, but it's probably something in August. Okay. As it appears on your passport, if you do have dual nationality. Okay, so if you're applying from outside the UK, choose your nationality as appears in your passport. Okay, so I did American, even though I'm applying, in other places I said that I live in Myanmar, but that's okay. I live in Myanmar. That's my home of residence. That's where my address is. That's where I want stuff to go. But I need to put my passport, which is United States. I guess it's United States citizen. Okay, and if you're a dual nationality, you can do that, but you don't have to. Do you need a student visa to study in the UK? I will. Have you previously studied on a student or a Tier 4 visa? So those of you who went to maybe the UK to do a summer program or something like that, or you've been there on a tourist visa, you did not get a Tier 4 visa. Okay, so a Tier 4 student is really geared for if you went there for full-time study. Do you currently have a passport? Okay, then you're going to have to put your passport number, 345. You want it to be accurate. Don't make one up like I did. And put your validity date. I'm going to put mine as, I'll just say a couple of years ago. And then go ahead and look on your expiration date on your thing and fill that in, right? And usually in the United States, it's usually 5 years. So what would that be, 2024? Actually, for adults, it's 4 years, 10 years. But in place of issue for me is Washington State Department. Usually your passport has all that information. You can go ahead and save the section and next to supporting information. Okay? You can continue on. So have you ever lived or worked in the EU, right? So you choose what you want to choose. Do you have a parent, step-parent, spouse, or civil partner who is an EU citizen or national? No. Okay, and then if you have a disability, and this is a case where if you have any physical or mental health condition, long-term illness, this does not disqualify you in any means. It doesn't mean that you won't get in and you won't be competitive. In fact, the more honest you are, the better it is for you in this process. The fact that they ask for it means that they have things in place for students that have disabilities, and so they want to know and they want to ask. So, for example, some of you might be on a learning plan or get accommodations, or if you have a long-term illness. I mean, these are all things maybe you told ISY about, maybe you haven't. You need to usually have some paperwork associated with it, either a diagnosis or some kind of a learning plan or that we keep at school. And what universities do is they actually, if you've seen some of the research, they do offers at 32 points or 36 points. And that 32 points is it accommodates for anybody that has learning disabilities or something that disrupted their education. Okay. Now you can't put like COVID and stuff like that. It needs to be something that has affected you with a mental health condition, long-term illness, learning differences, something like that. Okay. And you can go ahead and put no disability. And if you do have, you can put that, and then you can put some details on it. Okay. All right. Save this section. Go to English language skills. Okay. Is English your first language? And students always say, if I learned English since I was, if I was at ISY since preschool and I learned English and that is my first language, then I would say, and your English, and you've been learning English as a baby from the time you were a baby, and it's a lot better than your Burmese, then you can click yes here. Okay. If you came to ISY or into an English speaking school, in elementary school, so we're talking about first, second, third grade, and you were learning English from first start, then English is not your first language, right? But if you came into like preschool and you were speaking English as well as Burmese, and so you're bilingual, then that's fine. You can put English as your first language. So for actually most of you, English is not your first language, right? Which is fine. So let's say I put no. So then can you provide any of these certificate numbers? Okay. So TOEFL or international, the IELTS TRF number. So those are numbers that if you took the test, you can put those numbers in, right? There should be, and then that will allow them to look up your score. Okay. You don't have to fill it in if you don't have it. That's fine. You can come back to this again if you do take it. Okay. If I put yes is my first language, English is my first language, then that's fine. You still, even if you mark this as English as your first language, because your passport is from a country outside the U.S., UK, Canada, that are English-speaking provinces, you still are going to want to take either the IELTS or the TOEFL, just to show what your level of English is. Right? Now this gets to the money. What will be your main source of funding for your studies? Okay, and private finance means that you're going to pay for it. These are all things that that if you let's say you have like an uncle that's going to pay, you can put other source. Okay, so maybe your parents aren't going to pay, but your uncle is, or you can put private finance. It's fine. Most people put private finance. Okay, now if you get a scholarship, from there used to be Burmese government scholarships, you can mark that. Okay, and so other, right? If you don't want to say, just put unknown. That's fine. Now you can go next to the personal statement, and this is where this is where I would hold off on doing anything until you are finished with it. Put it in Microsoft Word, plop it in here, and then work with the spacing and stuff. Okay. Okay. So you can see on the left-hand side, we've definitely finished personal details, conduct and residency details. Okay. We haven't finished education. Let's go back to education. Now, what we didn't do back here that I skipped over is to add the qualification. Okay, so you need to fill this part out. Add a qualification, either choose from the qualification shortlist or search for your qualification. Okay, now, IB diploma. Let's find it. Okay, so that doesn't come up. Okay, so let's do international baccalaureate. International baccalaureate diploma. There we go. So they actually spell it out. Okay, or you can put IB, International Baccalaureate. So these are all things that people have put into this database. So it doesn't matter what you choose. You can do IB, International Baccalaureate Diploma. You can do International Baccalaureate Diploma. Boom. Okay. International, there are no qualifications because you haven't done it. Okay. Qualification date. So that you will get in you'll get in July of 2002. Okay. And you put pending here. Okay. This is really, really important. So you're going to get your results back in July of 2022, and they are pending. Now, if you happen to put your graduation date here, it's fine. Universities know when the IB comes out. Okay. Now, again, this is where type and select the subject you studied. So let's put English literature. Go back. It should be in there. English A. English A literature. So English A means means that it's in native speaking language, right? Qualification date, same thing, 7/2022. Okay, and then let's say you're taking that standard level. Okay, credit value pending. Okay, and you need to put the pending every time that you put in the pending. What that does is that actually allows me to put in your predicted scores here. Okay, and so you put pending for everything. You put pending for your degree, pending for each individual subject, and then I put the predicted score in it. Okay, and then you add another module. Okay, and you keep adding, and you add that until you're done. And you also add your TOK class. You want to add your TOK class. Okay, and your EE. You also need to add, if you saw that, extended essay. Okay, because this is where the extra points come in. So those bonus points. So between your extended essay and your, so we do a predict on how you're going to do on your extended essay, and we do a predict on your TOK, and that gives you the bonus. bonus points at the end. Okay, you can do the same thing. And if you noticed here, extended essay, so you just do that. And again, pending. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and close that. Okay, now let me go back up. Let's go ahead and save the qualification. Okay, and again, you can go back and add more. Okay, so there's your International Baccalaureate. Now, if you also took a college course or you took the SAT, let's go ahead and put, let's see, SAT. SAT comes in. Oh, not in there. Okay. Oh, name of school called. Oh, sorry, wrong one. The International. So let's say, for example, you went to a school in 9th and 10th grade. Let's say you went to the International School of Aberdeen, right? Start date, end date, full-time study, all that. Okay. Did you receive any qualifications? Well, you probably didn't. Now, if you did, if you earned the IGCSE, then you want to put that in, right? So those of you who got the IGCSE at the end of 10th grade, you can put that in, and you can put your scores in. They're going to want to know that. If you left and you didn't, then you just put no. Okay. And then you save. And so you have to put in the values. Okay. Start date and end date, and then full time, and then they'll let you. Okay, so if you went to a school previously but didn't get any qualifications coming out of there, fine. If you do say that you did earn qualifications like the IGCSE, then they're gonna then you do that and you indicate IGCSE qualifications, and then you can fill out your grades for that. Okay. Now let's say. Let's go back to the International School. Okay. And same thing, you put the date. Well, wait, let me cancel that. Okay, let me put, okay, up here, International School Yangon. You can add a qualification. Now, you also are going to earn the American High School Diploma. So, American High. So the American didn't work. So you might have to try a couple of different things. High School Diploma. Okay. Let's see. Turkey, Senior High School Diploma, Taiwan, Philippines, Canada. Okay, so if America didn't work, let's see if the United States. United States. Oh. Diploma. Hi. America. Nope. Okay. Soda. Nope. United High School. Okay, look at that. They have the basic education high school examination matriculation. Okay, Canada, Turkey, diploma, high school diploma, Canada, high school graduation diploma, Canada. Here we go. High school graduation diploma, USA. Okay. So you're going to do high school diploma, USA. Now, when you go into this, these two things might actually be listed when you go into them. I have the ability to go ahead and list them for you under our school. I will go ahead and add those in. If they're not in, you can add them in this way. So I'm doing it the hard way just to make sure that you know how to do it. Okay. That qualification date for when you earn that will be in May when you graduate. Okay. And your grade, you're not going to have a grade. It should be, it doesn't list anything. So you say pending. Right? Now, you don't have to add the modules here. See how they don't have a star, right? So you don't have to list your courses. You already listed the courses you're taking. Okay. But you do need to put any qualifications that you're earning from the International School of Yangon. So you need to add both the International Baccalaureate and our high school diploma. Okay. So you can go ahead and say save qualifications. Okay. Okay. And so you can go back to, oh, there we go. Okay, so now you've got international and U.S. high school diploma. So you should put both of those in. Now, let me add qualification again. And search for your qualification. Let me do SAT. Okay. So this is where you would put your admissions test. So those of you who are going to, that are going to apply to medical school, or you're applying to Oxford or Cambridge, and you need to take a test, this is actually where you put the test. So you took, even though you didn't take it, even though you might have not taken it at SY, you're going, you have this qualification, okay? And so you have the SAT. So you are supposed to list every qualification that you have coming out of high school. So if you have the SAT that you've taken, you should be reporting it. Now, because you have the IB, that's what they want. But students who only have a high school diploma, they need SAT scores and SAT subject tests right now to earn a qualification. If you do have the SAT, the UK system wants to know, would like you to report it. If you don't feel comfortable reporting it, that's up to you. But if you have a score, that they consider that a qualification, so you should report it. Okay, that's not very well known, but if you have a high SAT score and you want to report it, that's fine. If you put it in your application, they will look at it. But it's really important for those of you who took medical school or any of the tests with the UK, if you already know what it is. If you don't know what it is, so some of you will do medical if you don't take the BMAT till October, or you don't know what your scores are yet, then you don't put it in because you don't know, right? But even if you don't know, you can put pending, right? So let's say I put BMAT. Okay. Okay. If you are taking an SAT reasoning test, this can be entered via the US section on the International USA page. Okay. So let's say you just studied BMAT. Yep. And that comes up. And then the date and time. So let's say you're not taking it until October of 2021. Okay. And you just put pending. And that indicates to universities that you're taking it, right? Or let's say you took it before and you don't have the score yet. That's still pending. Okay. And let's say you took the TOEFL, and you don't have the score, but you want to put it in, you can say pending, right? Now, if that changes before you submit the thing, right? If let's say you take the TOEFL and or let's say you take the BMAT and you get the score back before, well, you won't. But let's say, imagine you take the TOEFL, for example, and you don't, and you get the score back before, you can go in and edit it, right? So before you submit it, you can then change the result. Okay, so all this is wide open. You're not locked into anything. Um, you save the qualification, and even if you click this section done, you can always go back and edit it before you send it. Okay, so any sort of qualification that you are going to get by the end of high school, you need to list IB diploma, put everything pending, high school graduation diploma, put that pending, any test scores that you have or that you will take. You can also put the TOEFL. So let's go ahead and I don't want to add another center. Let's go back up here and say add a qualification. Then you can do, again, you can do TOEFL. Right? English language TOEFL. And again, you can put the test date if it's before or if it's not. Computer, paper, internet, other. So let's say you took the home edition. That would be over the internet, right? And let's say you took it, let's say you're taking it 8 in August of 2021. Okay, total score, you don't know, put pending. Okay. Okay, now they're gonna if you do the SAT or the TOEFL, then they do want the different areas, the different type. They want the TOEFL broken down into its sections. And same thing when you put the IELTS, they're going to want to put your results. So you're going to want the total score there, and then broken down into the areas: the speaking, listening, reading, and they're going to want the different scores. So you need to list all the different scores there. Okay, even if it's pending, you can also put down here and put the section in, the date, and then you can put pending for scores here. And then again, you can go back and change it. Okay. So let's see if I can save qualification. We could not. Okay, because I haven't finished it. That's fine. Yes. Okay, and then it brings you back, and here are all your qualifications, right? Okay, so it just doesn't have the TOEFL in it because I didn't finish it. Okay. So now once you go through and you've clicked that you've finished all of those things, even if you put something in here and wrote something, and again, if you just write something, blah, 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 and you save draft, okay, it means you started it now. So personal statement says starting it. Okay. Now, once you have all of those things, done and everything is checked off, then and only then will something show up about sending it. You can finish off your thing. Once you finish off the application, you feel like it's ready to go. You pay, but that won't show up until you're all ready to go and everything's locked in. Okay, and then you pay for it. And when you're finished, let me know. I try to get the reference on my end and the scores in at least a couple of weeks before you actually want to turn it in, so that they're locked in there. But we need to coordinate that. So if you want to get it, if you're someone who wants to get it in earlier than that, then let me know that, and I'll try to get it done earlier if you're really ready to get it in. So for example, if you do wait until the January deadline, but you want to get it in like September, October, that's fine. I wouldn't recommend getting it in any earlier than the second round of predicts that we put out. So if you're an early deadline of October 15th, we will get you your scores before that. That's not a round, that's just individual scores. Our first round, where we collect it for everyone, will be right around October 15th in order to get scores together for November 1st deadlines. And then after that, we'll collect another round basically at the end of November, soon after November 15th. And then those scores will be the second round scores that I will use for everything in December and January and beyond deadlines. And so I wouldn't recommend getting your application if you're trying to shoot for the January 15th deadline. Don't try to send the application in until after you get that second round of predicted scores. If you want to send it before that, then we can use the first round of predicted scores. That's fine. That's fine. But you just need to let me know approximately what you're thinking about when you're going to turn it in, so I can make sure that I get my, the predicted scores in and the reference written in. It takes me a little time to do the reference. I have to contact the teachers and ask for comments and put their comments into your reference, and then I put my own comments in, and you and I have to meet and talk before that all gets done. Um, so we need to take care of all that stuff before I put that in, and then it needs to also dovetail with your personal or with your essay, with your personal statement. And so I don't want to say the exact same things as you, but I want to complement what you're saying. And so I don't really want to get my letter finished until I see like at least one draft of what you're writing, right? And if you write a draft and then you completely change it, I want to see, what that. So ideally, when you get a draft that's near done, I like to have a copy of it so that I don't say the same things as you do. I really compliment what you say. We want to make sure that your essay and what I write about you kind of jive, kind of makes sense together. Okay. But that's it. You won't see the payment. You won't see any of that until after you get all done, and then it'll be clear about what you need to do next. Now you can go ahead and pay, and then what that happens is it locks it down that you have paid for it and it's ready to go. I actually send your application out. So that's why it's really, really important that you tell me, when you're done, and then with your pieces, and I'll make sure I'm done with my pieces. And then once those two things happen, I will send it in. But you have to pay before I can send it in. So when you pay, it doesn't automatically get sent in. When you pay, I'll send it in. And when I send it, you will get notified about that. Okay. So that's pretty much it. If other things come up as you're going through it, and you have questions about, feel free to drop me a line, email me, um, and I will try to do my best to answer your questions. Good luck.